Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be going in depth into my top 24 running back rankings and tiers for the 2023 fantasy football season. Now, we already went in depth into running backs 1 through 12 in a prior video from a couple of days ago, so if you want to hear about those top 12 guys a little bit more in depth, because we're kind of just going to breeze past them in today's video to talk about running backs 13 through 24. Make sure you check out that video after this one, of course, because you're going to have a great time watching this. But before we get on in to my top 24 running backs, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure they do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. So without further ado, let's get into my top 24 ranked running backs and tiers for the 2023 fantasy football season. We begin at tier number 1. Again, we're going to try to breeze past these early guys: McCaffrey, Eckler, and Robinson. My top 3 guys. I would be shocked, I would be perplexed if, barring injury, if they don't get hurt, if these guys don't finish inside of the top 5 at the running back position. We all know how great McCaffrey is. We have seen how great Eckler is. I know some people have question marks. Bijan Robinson is a rookie. The Falcons aren't that great of a team. We saw the Falcons run Tyler Algier into the dirt last season. Bijan Robinson, much more talented than Tyler Algier. He's going to be the clear workhorse running back on a team that wants to run the ball. Now, McCaffrey, Eckler, they have this crazy pass catching upside. We didn't see too much pass catching on tape out of Bijan Robinson in college, but that's because he wasn't given a lot of opportunity. When he was actually dumped the ball off, he was pretty productive. So if Desmond Ridder wants to dump the ball off to Bijan Robinson, the guy doesn't have stone hands or anything, so I think Bijan is going to finish inside the top 3 at the running back position. Thus, why I believe he's in the creme de la crop. He is in tier number 1. Moving to tier number 2, we have 3 running backs. Again, we have Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, and 9-inch Nicholas Chubb. Now, I know some people are going to be a little bit worried about Jonathan Taylor, right? The Indianapolis Colts offense shit the bed last season. Matt Ryan was awful. He was atrocious. The offensive line didn't play as well as I thought they would. Jonathan Taylor got banged up and wasn't all that productive, but they fire the 2 head coaches they brought in last year. They have a brand new head coach, Shane Steichen of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this Colts offense is going to look far better in 2023 compared to 2022. So try to take 2022 out of your mind. Just use the Men in Black thing where they point the thing at you and you forget everything. Forget what happened. Remember what happened in 2021, where Jonathan Taylor was a complete and utter beast every single game. Remember that? Push 2022 to the side. Jonathan Taylor could be the number 1 running back, but he is a tier down from those other guys, because I feel a lot more confident in McCaffrey, Eckler, and Robinson. Number 5, we got Saquon Barkley of the Giants. Obviously, we all know how good Saquon Barkley could be when he is healthy. There's obviously some worries about his contract situation, though I think that will all be ironed out by the start of the season. Again, Saquon Barkley, one of the best running backs in the NFL, obviously deserves to be a tier 2 guy, a top 5 running back. And number 6, 9-inch Nicholas Chubb to clear out tier number 2. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns, the quarterback play was suspect last season. It was a roller coaster ride with Jacoby Brissett and Deshaun Watson. Obviously, Watson did not play good at all when he was able to play after serving his suspension. I think Watson looks a lot better this year. Seems like Kareem Hunt is not coming back. Bye-bye, pal. And maybe Nick Chubb has even further receiving upside. I think the Browns really turn it around in 2023, and Nick Chubb is going to be slept on yet again. Despite how good he is every year, people talk him down. I was kind of down on him last year, not making that mistake again. Moving to tier number 3, we have 4 running backs, and talking about someone I was a little low on last year, Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, last year, I thought that Josh McDaniels was going to run a running back by committee. I thought this was going to be like a 2-headed or 3-headed dragon running back core for the Raiders, but Josh Jacobs took the reins like he was Santa Claus, and he made made this offense amazing, despite the fact that Derek Carr was pretty mid last season. I think Josh Jacobs, even with a Jimmy Guap-led offense, with the pass catching skills, can still be a great running back. Again, a step down from the other guys, but it's not by a wide margin, in my opinion. Moving next to Breece Hall, running back number 8 of the Jets. Knowing what I know right now, I think he'll be healthy by week number 1. If we get to late August, early September, when you're doing your fantasy football drafts, and it turns out that, hey, Breece Hall might not be ramped up to 4 or 5 weeks in the season, then I will pull back on this stance. But right now, I'm fully confident in him. I'm confident in this Jets offense being a large step up from the Zach Wilson, Magic Mike White, and Joe Flacco offense of last season. So Breece Hall was amazing last year, super efficient. I went really in depth onto him in the top 12 running backs video. At number 9, we got Derrick Henry of the Tennessee Titans. Now, despite his yards per carry number kind of falling off as of recently, at the end of the day, he's still one of the best running backs in the NFL on a team that wants to jam the rock down your throat. So while he's getting up there in age, and while his yards per carry number is dwindling, he's going to get a lot of volume. He might not catch the ball a bunch because he's got fucking stone hands. The Titans might be bad, but I'm here to tell you, they're still going to run the ball a bunch. Ramondre Stevenson closes out tier number 3 of the Patriots. Was a huge sleeper last season. His ADP continued to rise as we got later in August. Obviously, he paid off in a big way. The Patriots offense was pretty bad last year under Matt Patricia. Now they move to a new offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien. While Bill O'Brien kind of gets a bad rap for what happened in Houston, he is a great offensive coordinator, and I think that will help out Stevenson, who again was really successful on a bad Patriots team. Now we move to tier number 4 to close out the top 12 with Pollard and Jahmyr Gibbs. Tony Pollard should have no competition around him. Zeke could return though, but I'm not even that worried about that. Deuce Vaughn behind him, Malik Davis. Tony Pollard is still that guy. Amazing last season. Think he should be able to repeat that success. And then Jahmyr Gibbs. Now Jahmyr Gibbs is more of a upside pick. He's a guy that I think if you want a guy to play really well weeks 1 through 3, then you don't want Jahmyr Gibbs. But if you want a guy that's going to maybe pick up the reins as we get deeper into the season, at least as of how we're looking at things right now, Jahmyr Gibbs has all of that ability. His great pass catching ability, is a very fast player as well. And this is not your old Lions. This is a much better Lions team. And again, while it might be a slow start, adjust the tip approach with Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that the upside is really there for him. So moving to tier number 5, where the true breakdown begins, Najee Harris, Pittsburgh Steelers, underdog ADP, running back 13, pick 38.5. Now, I know a lot of people who drafted Najee Harris might feel burnt by how he performed last season. Running back 14.5 PPR, running back 19.5 PPR points per game, tied with DeAndre Swift. Now, he did suffer a Lisfranc injury to the foot in the preseason prior to the 2022 season that could have very much impacted his performance last season. Now, I'm not going to say it was all injury because the offensive line last year was really bad. He had a 47.2 run blocking rating, ranked 55th at running back. So the offensive line play was pretty bad. Last year, he played in all 17 games despite the injury. He's a warrior. He played through 272 carries, 16 per game, 5th at running back, 1,038 rushing yards, 61.1 per game, 13th, 53 targets, 3.1 per game, 18th, 41 receptions, 2.4 per game, 15th, 229 receiving yards, 13.5 per game, 25th, and 10 total tugs, 10th at running back. Now, again, while the offensive line wasn't that great, he wasn't helping himself, right? 4 yards per touch, 52nd, 3.7 true yards per carry, 59th. But again, he was injured and the offensive line was dog shit. The offensive line can't get much worse than that. It should be better. There's a reason why they drafted how they did. They even drafted a tight end to help block for Kenny Pickett and Najee Harris. This is a team that historically Mike Tomlin uses the workhorse running back. He doesn't fuck with the running back by committee system. Did it with Le'Veon, did it with James Conner, and he's going to continue to do it with Najee Harris. If he's able to stay healthy, I think people are sleeping big time on Najee. At number 14, we got Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars, underdog ADP, running back 12 at pick 34.8. Last year was the RB 17.5 PPR and the running back 24.5 PPR points per game, playing in 17 games on the season, but he only had 12 starts because if you guys remember, James Robinson caught fire like the Hunger Games book/movie early on in the season, and took over from Travis Etienne. 220 carries, 12.9 per game, 13th, 1,125 rushing yards, 66.2 per game, 8th, 45 targets, 2.6 per game, 22nd, 35 receptions, 2.1 per game, 22nd, 316 receiving yards, 18.6 per game, 15th, and 5 total tugs, 31st at running back. Now, going into the NFL, I thought of Etienne as this great pass-catching back. We saw it with Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. This is a guy that's going to catch a bunch of passes, but I think we heavily overrate how good of a pass catcher he is. Because if he really was that elite, wouldn't he be seeing more targets? Now, could he get 55 targets, maybe 60 targets? Yes, but he's not Alvin Kamara. He's not McCaffrey. He's not Eckler. Right? And that's what people were kind of talking about his pass catching upside as, and that frankly has not been true. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a much better team going forward than they were even last year, where they were pretty good. They made the playoffs. They made that crazy upset against the Chargers. They were pretty solid. I think they're even better this year. My problem lies with the fact that, again, I don't really see the pass catching upside being super high. And I also worry about the fact that I think Tank Bigsby is going to, running back out of Auburn, they drafted him, is going to be more of a nuisance to Etienne than people think. Now, I have him 2 spots behind ADP. So his ADP is running back 12. I got him RB 14. I don't think I'm going to have a lot of Etienne. Again, do I think he's a bad player? No. 4.6 true yards per carry, 24th, 5.7 yards per touch, 10th. If he gets the ball in his hands, he's going to make things happen. He had a lot of good games. He had a lot of not so good games at all, where he was fewer than 5 points last season. So again, I'm not trying to shit on Etienne here. I think he's an okay pick. But when I draft him, I'm not super excited. So when I get to the range of Travis Etienne, almost every time I'm clicking on a wide receiver. Or if Andrews is there, I'm taking the tight end. Or if maybe Hurts is there, or Mahomes, or Allen. And I don't like the wide receivers. I'm just taking the quarterback. I don't even like drafting a quarterback that high. It kind of just tells you how I feel about Etienne. Again, not super excited about him. I don't want to throw bust, like and say, this guy's a fucking bust. But, gonna be honest, I don't think he's gonna be on a lot of my teams. I've already drafted a bunch of teams on Underdog. I think he's only on 1 out of 13 of my teams, or 15 of my teams that I drafted so far. Tier number 5 ends with Dameon Pierce of the Texans. This is the exact opposite. I'm not super excited about Etienne. I'm really excited about Dameon Pierce. I have him ranked 4 spots ahead of ADP. Underdog running back 19, pick 61.6, and again, I have him as my running back 15. Last year, he was the RB 27.5 PPR, tied with Algier, running back 23.5 PPR points per game. He played in 13 games, having 220 carries, 16.9 per game, 13th, 939 rushing yards, 72.2 per game, 16th, 39 targets, 3 per game, 30th, 30 receptions, 2.3 per game, 27th, 165 receiving yards, 12.7 per game, 42nd, and 5 total touchdowns, 31st. Another guy that fell victim to awful offensive line play. 35.9 run blocking rating, 63rd. Despite that, 68 evaded tackles, 5.2 per game, first. 718 yards created, 55.2 per game, 15th. So despite the fact that the Houston Texans were a flaming pile of dog shit last season, Dameon Pierce was able to overcome that and have a solid season. They go from Davis Money Mills to CJ Stroud. Now, regardless of what you think about CJ Stroud, there are levels to this shit, and he is levels above Davis Money Mills. I think this offense is going to take the right foot forward. I think you insert Dameon Pierce into here, and I'm super excited about his upside. I was excited last year. I'm even more excited now with CJ Stroud. Now we move to tier number 6. If you have enjoyed thus far, like button, subscribe button down below. Joe Mixon of the Cincinnati Bengals, underdog ADP running back 20, pick 62.1. He was running back 12.5 PPR last season, running back 8.5 PPR points per game. Now I know, Nick, maybe the Bengals cut Joe Mixon. Sure, that is still there. But don't you think it would have already happened? Don't you think, with all that crazy shit that happened in the offseason, they would have just gotten rid of him already? Don't you think they would have drafted a running back a little higher? They wouldn't have gotten rid of Samaje Perine if they wanted Joe Mixon gone? That's kind of my opinion. I think he's going to be back with the Bengals. And he's discounted right now. I think when we get to August and you read Joe Mixon is on the board as running back 16, you're going to click him. Why wouldn't you? He's a good running back on one of the best offenses in the NFL. 14 games played in 2022, 212 carries, 14.1 per game, 16th, 826 rushing yards, 55.1 per game, 25th, 74 targets. His target numbers are very good, 4.9 per game, 7th, 60 receptions, 4 per game, 5th, 441 receiving yards, 29.4 per game, 6th, and no one even talks about the fact that Joe Mixon's a really good pass catcher. 9 total touchdowns, 14th. His efficiency stats aren't the greatest, right? 3.7 true yards per carry, 61st, 4.7 yards per touch, 35th. But when you get as much volume as Joe Mixon, there's something I like to talk about. The yards per carry number isn't as important. So if you're a running back that maybe doesn't get as many touches per game, right? Mixon gets 14 carries a game. If Mixon was getting 8 carries per game, then you wouldn't fucking draft him. Because he's not efficient. But he gets enough volume to where it doesn't matter. It's like Derrick Henry. Even though his efficiency has dropped, they're just feeding the rock to this guy. Kind of how I feel about Joe Mixon. Again, obviously Derrick Henry's a better running back, though, than Joe Mixon. 74.6 run block rating, and that offensive line was real shaky to start the season. So I think a lot of people are really forgetting about Joe Mixon in drafts right now, and I just don't get it. At 17, we got Aaron Jones of the Green Bay Packers, underdog ADP, running back 16, pick 55.2, running back 9, last season in half PPR, running back 11 in points per game, tied with Jamal with 2A's Williams, the Vulture himself. 17 games played in 2022, 213 carries, 12.5 per game, 15th, 1,121 rushing yards, 65.9 per game, 9th, 72 targets, 4.2 per game, 8th, 59 receptions, 3.5 per game, 6th, 395 receiving yards, 23.2 per game, 10th, and 7 total touchdowns, 19th. This is a guy that gets a lot of carries, but he's also efficient. 5.0 true yards per carry, 7th, 5.6 yards per touch, 12th, 893 yards created, 8th, and 80 evaded tackles, 9th. Now I know, Aaron Rodgers is gone. He's now a Jet. Caw-caw. Right? He's gone. Jordan Love is going in. How good is Jordan Love? We'll see. We'll see. But this is a team that still wants to run the ball. This is a team with a coherent defense. This is a team that's going to be able to run the ball a lot. Nick, they also have A.J. Dillon. I agree with that, right? I wish A.J. Dillon wasn't on the Packers. I wish he was on some other team where he could be the RB1 on that team. So Jones could be the RB1 on the Packers, and they could both have great value. There's going to be games where Dillon scores 2 touchdowns because he's built like a fucking wrecking ball from that Miley Cyrus music video. The guy's big. He's got the legs. He's got the thigh muscles like that scene from The Sopranos with the Lakers player, with Johnny Drama. I forget the name of the Lakers player, but I hope you get the joke if you've watched The Sopranos, okay? Aaron Jones is good. He's great even. I know the perception of the Packers is low, but there's still a guy that's going to be seeing a bunch of carries. And again, you can't, as you get deeper down in the rankings, the running backs get more and more gross. I know Aaron Jones is getting older, but he's still a great player. And I think people are kind of discrediting him. Now, I have him one spot below ADP. I have him as running back 17. He's RB 16 on underdog. But I don't think that's really discrediting a player, having him one spot behind where the ADP goes. Now we move to tier number 7, and some people might be like, where is this player? Like, why have you not talked about him yet? And it's Kenneth Walker III. Sir Kenneth Walker III of the Seattle Seahawks. Underdog ADP, running back 15, pick 46.9. Running back 16, half PPR, 14 in points per game, half PPR, tied with Ramondre Stevenson. 15 games played in 2022 with 11 starts. Remember, Penny was the guy to start the season. 228 carries, 15.2 per game, 11th. 1,051 rushing yards, 70.1 per game, 11th. 35 targets, 2.3 per game, 34th. 27 receptions, 1.8 per game, 33rd. 165 receiving yards, 11 per game, 42nd. And 9 total touchdowns, 14th. In terms of efficiency, he wasn't all that great, but he got the volume. 4.1 true yards per carry, 38th. 2.97 yards created per touch, 12th. Negative 28.3 expected points added. 148th in running back. EPA kind of tells you, hey, this guy wasn't really playing that great. Like, another running back could have slipped into this spot and been really productive. So that kind of worries me about Kenneth Walker, because they fucking drafted a running back in the 2nd round named Zach Charbonnet, who many people think might be better than Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker goes in the 5th round. I've seen him go in redraft mock drafts in the 2nd round, the 1st round. And Charbonnet is free. Explain that to me. Now, I know Nick Walker looked good last year. Pete Carroll already came out, though, and said, hey, there's going to be a battle. A war for the starting running back role. A war. they just brought in JSN as well, so maybe there's going to be even less targets toward the running back position. Now, could Walker be the number 1 running back, and could I look like an absolute stooge? Of course. But can I feel confident drafting this guy as highly as he's being drafted? No, I can't be. Maybe I'll eat crow on this. Maybe he'll be great because he's skilled. He's really good. But again, he was a round 2 pick. Charbonnet was a round 2 pick. So there's no, like, NFL draft capital argument that, oh, we need to play Kenneth Walker, right? Oh, he was a first-round pick. We drafted him top 5. That wasn't what happened. So I will just let that marinate in your brain a little bit. Maybe we need to worry a lot about Kenneth Walker. At number 19, we got Miles Sanders. Carolina Panthers running back, underdog ADP, running back 17, pick 55.5. Running back 13.5 PPR, running back 16.5 PPR points per game, tied with Alvin Kamara. 17 games played with 15 starts as a Eagle. Fly, Eagles, fly. Last season, shout out to Joel Embiid. 259 carries, 15.2 per game. 8th, 1,269 rushing yards, 74.6 per game. 5th, 26 targets. 45th, 20 receptions. 45th, 78 receiving yards. 70th, and 11 total touchdowns. 9th. An issue with Sanders that I've kind of talked about a lot as an Eagle was he just wasn't getting the targets. I don't know what the fuck happened. Like, it seemed like his rookie year, he's going to get a bunch of targets, and it really just never came to fruition after that. Panthers offense, obviously on paper, isn't the best. Just drafted Bryce Young. This is a young team, but all the reports are saying Sanders is the 3-round back. If we get to late August, that's still the case. Like, you can't have him ranked lower than this. Like, I don't think Sanders is the best running back to grace Earth. Don't think he's amazing. But again, when you get a guy that's going to be playing on all 3 downs, his competition's Chuba fucking Hubbard. Like, you can't have him ranked much lower than this. And I can't have him ranked much higher either because I don't think he's that great of a running back. 4.7 true yards per carry, 14th. But again, he's playing behind one of the best O-lines on the Eagles. Going to be a lot different. The Carolina offensive line is actually pretty decent. 4.8 yards per touch, but not as good as the Eagles, obviously. 28th, 64 evaded tackles, 13th. Again, I'm not trying to shit all over Miles Sanders at all. But all I'm saying is he's a running back that's okay. He's good. He got the money, doesn't have much competition, and he's probably going to be the 3-down back. So you just kind of have to like him, right? You just really can't rank him lower than this. Even if you're not excited about the player, like you've watched him play as an Eagle, it's not like mouth-watering. But he should be fine. Number 20, also in tier 7. Number 21, can you do something for me, is also in tier number 7. DeAndre Swift of the Philadelphia Eagles, RB20. Got him 2 spots ahead of ADP. RB22 on underdog. Pick 69.5. Very nice. I like my wife, number 69. Pick 22.5 PPR, 19.5 PPR points per game, tied with Najee Harris. 14 games played with 8 starts. Last year was a disaster for Swift. I loved Swift going into the season. For good reasons, though. 99 carries, 7.1 per game, 43rd. 542 rushing yards, 38.7 per game, 37th. 70 targets, 5 per game, 10th. 48 receptions, 3.4 per game, 12th. 389 receiving yards, 27.8, 11th. 8 total touchdowns, 16th. So he only played in 14 games. He had 8 starts, and he had to deal with Jamal Williams coming in and just scoring all the touchdowns. So even with Jamal Williams vulturing him, even if it seemed like this guy fucked Dan Campbell's wife because of how little usage he got and how much that guy, I think it was the offensive coordinator, the running back coach on the Lions. I don't know if you guys saw it. I forgot what his name is off the top of my head, so I apologize. I tweeted it out. It was so funny. During the draft, like, they pick fucking Gibbs, and he's going crazy. I was like, this guy fucked that guy's wife? Like, did Swift do that? That's what it seemed like. But, yeah, Swift's really efficient. 4.9 true yards per carry, 8th. 6.3 yards per touch, 2nd. 8.1% breakaway run rate, 5th. Breakaway one weight. Breakaway run rate. 28.6% juke rate, 16th. The guy's really good. Just got to stay on the field. Now, the Eagles are going to use multiple running backs, which kind of devalues him a little bit. They also have Jalen Hurts. He's going to run a lot. But he's on the Eagles, one of the best offenses. He's one of the best running backs. If Hurts commits to the dump off, Hurts hasn't been necessarily the biggest kind of dump off quarterback, but like, you brought in Swift for a reason. He's better than Gainwell. He's better than these other running backs that the Eagles. He's better than Penny. So I think it's kind of an easy task for him to become the lead back. And even if he's not a guy getting 14 carries a game. I don't think he needs that, right? If he gets 13, 12 carries a game, gets 4 to 5 targets a game, he's got a nose for the end zone. He has top 12 upside, and he's being drafted as running back number 22. Right now, to close out tier number 7. Now, this is a guy that I love Isaiah Pacheco, but I'm going to be honest with you, the fact that they brought in McKinnon scares me a little. Now, Pacheco's one of my highest owned players on Underdog, so I'm drafting him a lot, but I will tell you, it's really just because of where he's going, right? He's running back 23, pick 71.2, so if I like a running back in the 70s, I'm going to be pretty happy to take him, right? Even though I'm a little bit worried about McKinnon. Running back 35 in half PPR last year, tied with Foreman. Running back 46 in points per game, tied with Foreman and Robinson. He played in all 17 games, but he was only technically the starter in 11. They have McKinnon, they have CH, and they have Pacheco, but Pacheco appears to be the lead back. The guy runs hard, and he did it during the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. 170 carries, 10 per game, 33rd, 830 rushing yards, 48.8 per game, 24th. And that's pretty telling, right? When they go to you in the Super Bowl, the fucking Super Bowl, where you need to win. You need to fucking win the Super Bowl in the playoffs. You need to win. This isn't like week fucking 4 where CH is running hot. No, this is the Super Bowl. The AFC fucking championship. They're giving the guy the ball. You better believe, hopefully he's going to get it a bunch. The only thing that worries me is his targets. 14 targets. 69th at running back. Nice. 0.8 per game. 13 receptions. 0.8 per game. 64th. 130 receiving yards. 7.6 per game. 50th. And 5 total touchdowns. But he's really efficient. 4.8 true yards per carry. 10th. 5.2 yards per touch. 16th. So he's really good. Let's just hope that he continues to have that role. And again, it's always nice to have the running back on a team that's going to be scoring as many points as the Kansas City Chiefs. Because even with their wide receiver core not being the best, Mahomes is just so good that it doesn't even matter. Tier number 8, the final tier of today's video. We got 3 running backs, running back 22, 23, and 24. J.K. Dobbins, RB 22 of the Ravens. Running back 18 on Underdog. Pick 57. Now, I kind of get it. Early on in the offseason, I would tell you that I'm not drafting any J.K. Dobbins. With Lamar re-signing, with them drafting Zay Flowers, with them having Rashad Master Bateman, they have Odell. It's like, they have Andrews, obviously. It's like, yeah, I get it. It's going to be annoying when Lamar vultures. It's going to be annoying when Gus Edwards vultures, because I don't think J.K. Dobbins is just going to be a workhorse back there. And that's what kind of concerns me to move him down the rankings. Like, I just don't see him being this 15, 16 carry a game guy. And he's also not the best pass catcher either. Running back 52.5 PPR, 31.5 PPR points per game last year. Obviously didn't finish that high. He only played in 8 games. But, like, did he even play in those 8 games? Like, it kind of seems like he was a fucking corpse walking out there at points, like a zombie. 92 carries, 11.5 per game, 47th. 520 rushing yards, 65 per game, 39th. 8 targets, 1 per game, 86th. 7 receptions, 0.9 per game, 84th. 42 receiving yards, 5.3 per game, 87th. 3 total touchdowns, 47th. He was pretty efficient, though. 5.2 true yards per carry. 4th, 5.7 yards per touch, 9th. So look, like, while I shit on the fact that maybe he's not going to get the most usage, he is effective when he gets the ball, and the Ravens should be able to bounce back if Lamar can stay healthy. They have a lot of cooks in the kitchen now. They also have Gus Edwards still behind him. Again, I'm not excited to draft him. I'm not going to name him as a full fade because I've seen drafts where he falls. I've taken him in drafts. But at running back 18... it just, to me, seems a little high. Maybe I'm off. Maybe you love J.K. Dobbins, and I've liked them in the past, so, maybe I'm just a little bit off this year. Maybe I'm wrong. And I'm fine being wrong. I'm going to be wrong on things. It's impossible to make all these videos, say everything correct. Something's bound to go wrong. Maybe it's J.K. Dobbins. Dalvin Cook, RB 23, Minnesota Vikings, at least for now. Underdog ADP running back 21, pick 67.9. Now, if you guys aren't Twitter savages like myself, you wouldn't know that the Vikings updated their Twitter header. Their header was a picture, I think, of Addison. I want a bad bitch. Addison Ray, Jordan Addison, Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and Hawkinson. But now, it's all those guys. When I said Dalvin Cook, it's Alexander Madison. There's a lot of rumors that June 1st, snip, 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 like a fucking vasectomy, Cook would be gone. Seems like that's what might happen. Running back 10.5 PPR, 13.5 PPR points per game. seems like Dalvin Cook's just permanently plagued by that I think it's his left shoulder injury. Played in all 17 games last year. Like, the stats are really good. But, like, if you watch him, it kind of seems like he's lost a bit of an edge. Again, like, running back 21's pretty fair pricing for him. I just don't know how I can rank him higher than where I got him because I don't know what team he's going to be on. Like, I really don't think he's going to be a Viking. So what team is he? Is he on the Dolphins? Like, that's cool and all, but, like, that's a committee. So, just really depends where he lands. Again, I'll read off his stats real quick. 264 carries, 15.5 per game, 6th. 1,173 rushing yards, 69 per game, 6th. 56 targets, 3.3 per game, 15th. 39 receptions, 2.3 per game, 17th. 295 receiving yards, 17.4 per game, 18th. And 10 total touchdowns, 10th. Efficiency stats, 4.8 yards per touch, 27th. 4.1 true yards per carry, 37th. To 728 yards created, 42.8 per game, 14th. Look, the stats are good. His efficiency stats, not so good. You go back and watch, some runs were great, right? That one run against Miami where he stuck a fucking dagger into my heart as a Dolphins fan, it was good. But there was also a lot of bad where he looked a little bit sluggish. Now, could he have been banged up? Of course. Of course. So that just kind of leaves us as, I think Dalvin Cook's going to be, he could move up in my rankings by 3 spots come August if he's still on the Vikings or if he's on a team where I like the landing spot. If he's on a team where I don't like the landing spot, then he's probably going to be like running back 25, 26. Just a guy I'm not super excited about, but I get it because he's Dalvin Cook. He's got the first round fantasy football ADP baked into your brain. Into your brain. So I get it. He's a good player. It just seems like he's kind of lost a step. RB24, my guy, James Conner of the Arizona Cardinals, underdog ADP, running back 26, pick 83.7. RB20 and half PPR, RB10 and half PPR points per game last season. 13 games played, 183 carries, 14.1 per game, 28th. 782 rushing yards, 60.2 per game, 30th. 58 targets, 4.5 per game, 12th. 46 receptions, 3.5 per game, 13th. 300 receiving yards, 23.1 per game, 17th. And 8 total touchdowns, 16th at running back. Now, I know if you drafted James Conner last year, where I was banging the drum for him kind of earlier on in drafts, like, wasn't that great because he got hurt. But let's call a spade a spade. The Cardinals don't have any running back competition for Conner. Not in the slightest. None of those guys they have behind him are taking over unless there's an injury. I know Kyler's hurt. Could miss the whole season, in my opinion. Like, if they're 0-5, 5 games in. Maybe they have bye week 5, but 0-4, maybe then 4 games in. Why the fuck would you bring Kyler back? But even so, he's the only guy there to get the touches, and he's a good pass-catching running back. Now, he's not Eckler, he's not Alvin Kamara, he's not McCaffrey, he's not Saquon, he's not Josh Jacobs. Those are some of the best pass catchers in my opinion. Ramondre Stevenson. He's not that. But he's also not Derrick Henry. He's also not a guy that, like, can't catch passes. So, I just think he's going to get a lot of volume. Bad teams have shown us, like the Falcons, you could be getting dicked down in Dallas late in the game, railed out in Raleigh, and they still run the ball a million times. I think the Cardinals could do that. Let's get out of here. So, James Conner could probably do the same. 4.2 true yards per carry, 33rd. 64 evaded tackles, 4.9 per game, 13th. 709 yards created, 54.5 per game, 17th. And 28.8% dominator rate, 9th. He's a good running back. Coming at a discount, you take him. That's just kind of how it rolls. And if Kyler comes back late in the season and, the Cardinals are better than Nick thought and better than most people thought, then even better for James Conner. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you ended up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below as well as hit that like button. It would help me out a ton. I love you guys all so much. I'll see you guys soon with another video. As always, good boy.